Lyndon Johnson is an example of a clever and consummate politician who had a very poor understanding of his adversary and who gave up a great deal of control over his management of the war, direction of the war in Vietnam very quickly. He essentially framed peace terms that allowed Hanoi to decide when the war would end. He then turned over management of the war, day-to-day supervision of the war, to his military on the ground, to General Westmoreland, and never exercised any kind of close oversight over Westmoreland. Sometimes that works for a president. It worked for Woodrow Wilson in World War I. He paid no attention really to what was going on in the battlefield. He raised no objections to Pershing's conduct of the war. But when a war doesn't go well, it's critically important that a president be aware of that and take steps to correct that, and including replacing commanders. And Johnson is an example of a president who was far too hands-off in his management of the everyday conduct of the war, which is not to say necessarily that he could have done something different that would have produced much better results, but I think he would have appreciated earlier just how badly things were going and not persisted in a course that was getting him nowhere. Richard Nixon is a different kind of character as a wartime leader, because Richard Nixon believed very much that the sudden use of force, I would almost call it the impulsive use of force, would have a powerful diplomatic effect on the North Vietnamese. And so when you look at Nixon's conduct of the war in Vietnam, you see essentially not much direct intervention on a regular basis, except there were these episodes when Nixon decided to suddenly escalate the use of violence, including the incursion in Cambodia in 1970, and there are a couple of other cases where Nixon did that. So his leadership I would characterize as extraordinarily inconsistent and impulsive, and therefore and ineffective in the end. That's we talk sometimes about who surprises you, whose conduct of the war impresses you, and I think I came away probably least impressed with Richard Nixon as a wartime leader.